Oh, and we're live. Um, that wasn't the entrance I was hoping for, but
Oh, we are live.
we're up and running. Yeah, there was
Oh,
some sort of glitch on with the internet, but we're doing it. We're
oh,
here.
look at that. Is it just me or did three people just pop on out of
3 people are here.
nowhere? That is a record.
Would that be a
Well,
glitch
four.
in the matrix?
Yeah.
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
Good.
Oh, it's warm in here. Warm.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. We built an audience for these live interviews
Yeah.
over the last few weeks.
It is weird. They're stopping me. So, folks, if you're watching, well, a lot of them I think watch after the live.
Yes.
Then they'll come up to me and they'll say, it's kind of strange that they stop you at work and they whisper to you like they don't want anyone to know they're a groupie now. You know,
hey, I seen you on that show.
They're like, hey, you guys go on live again? You guys need to keep doing this. And it scares me a little because I don't know who they are sometimes.
Why do you think they're saying that? Like, we need to continue talking about the things we're talking about, or what do you think it is?
I think right now the people that have come up to me are people that are interested in what we were talking about as far as the contract's concerned.
Yeah.
But there's an audience for everything. So if we were talking about protein powder, then there's going to be an audience for protein powder. If we're talking about anything health and nutrition, right?
I think it's because you got a strong jawline.
Yeah, that could be it. So listen, I got yelled at because of when I was shaving. I didn't realize this, but I was shaving up too high. And I looked like a member of the cartel, I guess, at one point. I didn't realize that. So I started letting the beard grow down further to more define the jawline a little bit better. So
yeah, now you look like you're in the mob.
No, yeah, well, you know what? When you say that, and I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, so that's
it fits.
Yeah, it fits, I guess. Anybody? Have you ever seen?
You let the beard come in lower?
Lower.
Did you keep it higher because of the gray?
No, but listen, here's what's funny. I just realized that it's all gray below. So it was by accident that I was making sure that it wasn't, but now it's here. You got to embrace that stuff, Ron. But
hey, man, the women think silver.
Yeah, the salt and pepper thing. The salt and pepper thing.
Silver fox.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little gray in my facial hair too, and I'm 30.
Yeah, you're.
I was 29 when it popped off, and I was like, "Oof, this is not good. It's gonna be rough."
I noticed gray in my nostril hair, so I think that means I'm getting old officially.
They have those. Listen, they have those. Whatever those things are you could buy on Amazon for your nose hair, for your ears.
Yeah.
So I'm in that market now.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I'm in that market. You ain't even there yet. I'm in that market now. You and our good friend who is still not here in that chair over there, Mr. Cipriano Benavides. You guys have a ways to go yet before you run into that. But yeah, I don't know what I think a lot of people are really interested in what's going on with this contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not kidding you. Yesterday, right after they announced the possibility of Lordstown going back to Ultimum Cells in Lordstown, Ohio, my phone literally, I lost track around 70 calls, texts, messages on Messenger. What's going on? So the news broke, and my biggest fear was I wanted to surprise my kids last night. So it was my 11-year-old's birthday. So he opens up his birthday. I'm on FaceTime Live. He opens up his present, and then I send a picture of the article, and I tell my oldest one, I said to him, Jake, I want you to open up this one. This is an early present for you, and this is another present for Jordan. And he got a sentence into it and broke down.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, you could see the amount of stress he's been under.
Absolutely.
And broke down, and there was more people in the room with him, his mom, his grandparents, a good friend across the hall from where they're at. And my 11-year-old, and his excitement with his new hoverboard, doesn't react at all. He just looks and he wants to know where this one part is for the hoverboard. And then his mom says to him, Jordan, did you hear what your dad said? And Jordan looks at me on FaceTime and just says, oh yeah, I'm proud of you, Dad. And I was like, what did I do? But with Jake's going to be 14 in December. And, you could see that just the breakdown, as far as, and immediately what I thought about was not just the fact that he was like that, but this is happening to thousands of kids you think about not just the automotive industry, but every industry where parents are, where places are shuttered, businesses move out, they move here, they, cause negative impact on communities, as our our elite have said in their interviews. Our top, our executives, they said the strike is a negative impact on communities as they shutter 65 plants in the last 10 to 15 years. But that's the first thing I thought of is just all these kids that deal with that. But that's our choice, right? That's no one told us we had to do this line of work,
Right.
as we're told so
You
many
could find
times.
another job.
Could find another job. Just quit after 25 years of
There's actually a couple people that are quitting over in my area. They're done after the beginning of the year. They're just
quitting.
They realize that they've had enough of GM.
But why?
They're not getting they're not their traditional or the legacy. So there's no pension for them. They're done. They're done after the beginning of the year. They've had enough. They realize the impact. They realized that the benefit of having the time off, that how much better they felt mentally and physically. And their spouse works for General Motors, so that insurance side will still be there for them. But yeah, they're done come March.
I wish I could quit.
You can.
I can.
You can.
No, and that's the thing about not having a pension is you're not necessarily stuck there.
Right.
And that's something that I know a lot of people were upset about was the no pension thing.
Yeah, it's not, and this is my own personal opinion. Should it have ever gone away? No, absolutely not. I mean, everything that happened in 2008, we've talked about this before, Dave. This is what, our third time talking about this, third or fourth.
It's like our fourth,
maybe our fourth time talking about this entire situation. Getting rid of the pension was just one of those things in 2008 when they filed bankruptcy and they came to the union. They said, listen, there's going to be a ton of concessions here in order for us to survive. And then we're going to go ahead and make you whole again as time goes on. Never happened. They got rid of the pension. And I remember thinking immediately, that is never coming back.
Right.
That might be the one thing that we should have stood ground on and said, that's the one thing you're not doing.
Do you think that was the first time or the first, because it's like that in all industries right now, where like even the military doesn't give pensions anymore. Do you think it was like around that time where everybody stopped doing that, including not including just the auto industry, but other industries as well?
I really don't know like when it all started. I don't know if we were in the middle of that. I do remember hearing beforehand from people, you're so lucky, like in the early 2000s, late 1990s,
to have a pension.
You're so lucky to have a pension. We don't have a pension. So I don't think that we were the beginning of it. We were somewhere in the middle.
Was that something that only union shops offered or union workplaces offered?
No, not at all. I know a ton of executive work back in the day and maybe even now where it's not the norm, but pensions were a thing. As a matter of fact, gentleman who lived across the street from me passed away not too long ago, about a year and a half or 2 years ago. He retired as a supervisor at a steel producing plant in Youngstown, and he had a pension.
Wow.
All the way up until till he passed, he and his wife. And so that was something that was looked forward to. You put all this time in, and you gave your services to the company. So they had to do something to provide for you in your elderly state as time goes on.
How does the pensions work? Because I know that a lot of people don't understand that.
So for however many hours you work, for however many years you work, you get so much money allotted to you on a monthly basis.
So what's the multiplier thing about?
I believe it is your years of service times, right now the multiplier is 54. I believe it is right now. So if I put in 30 years of service times 54, and then you get your whatever that number comes out to on a monthly basis.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people are like, well, I heard General Motors employees have pensions get $3,500 a month. Well, we get like $1,600 a month. Social Security kicks in the rest of that. That's SSI or SS. That's not General Motors giving us $3,500 or $3,200. But that's how that works. It's not something that you can necessarily live off of without Social Security. The healthcare benefits are,
especially right now.
Healthcare benefits are not as great as when you're working for the company, but they're there. And right now with VEBA, that's actually worked out really well for the union when they took that over. It's
we
thriving.
Talked about that last time.
It's thriving. So, I mean, there's nothing, if nothing else, I really wish that all of our workers who were hired after 2008 could at least have that health care from VIBA added to a plan at some point very shortly. And maybe the next contract, that might be one of the main points to look at, because that's absolutely insane. It's unfortunate what's happening. It's unfortunate. And I think what amazes me is the amount of, I don't know if you've seen this, Ron. They're saying that like almost 80% of America is with us on what our demands were and what we expect.
That's the people that did the polls, though.
Right.
I mean, who's doing polls?
But it's funny.
People who are on strike.
But maybe, I don't know.
If that percentage is true, it's funny how the 20% is louder. The 20% that's against is way louder than the 80% for.
Well, that's because of the media.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They make us out to be the greedy and so they say, look at this. They want a 47% increase in wages.
Yeah.
The purpose of the 47%, for everybody who's listening right now, was because we literally, guys, when in 2006, if you look at a pay stub of mine, I was making about $29 an hour.
Yeah, just under 30.
And now I'm making $32 an hour some 16, 17, 18 years later.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you talk about wages to inflation, we're not even in the same ballpark with where we're supposed to be. Right. And so the 47% was, we're going after everything right now, and then we'll go ahead and negotiate and bargain our way somewhere. And we got basically right in the middle, almost right in the middle of where, so you had to bargain back and forth until you finally got to where 25%, and then it's 25% over 4.5 years. It's not
right up front.
Yeah, it's not up front. Yeah. It's 25% over 4.5 years. And we got cost of living allowance back, but I couldn't tell. It looks like it's 12 cents an hour from what I thought I saw.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to start getting back to where we have some type of purchasing power. Anybody out there who has a business, if we can't afford your product or your service, then what good is your product or your service? And then what good is your business?
Right.
And middle-class America seems to have forgotten this somewhere. Not only have they forgotten that, but this fight is not just about or just for the auto worker. This is for middle-class America. Start standing up for what you believe in and what you feel you're worth. And, people tell us about we're uneducated. I always laugh at that one. Uneducated. That always makes me laugh. What else are we? Lazy. Lazy.
We don't work hard.
No, we don't work hard.
Right.
I think I burned literally like 2,200 calories today.
We all worked today.
We were moving.
Yep.
We were 9 hours. We were moving
9 hours. Yeah, we had no team leaders offline. Nobody to give bathroom breaks when you had to go.
Good luck.
Nobody to do repairs.
Isn't it funny when all the TLs are online, the line does not stop?
No.
Yeah.
It does not stop.
It's because I think it's a mindset that we have. Whether we believe it or not, I think we have this thing kick in, and I think management loves this. You have this thing kick in where all of a sudden there's no team leader, so I have to make sure that no matter what, this is done right and it's done in station. And because what happens if all of our team leaders are online?
Yeah,
so it's too hard to explain to somebody. Like I told you this before, I was saying to Dave in the one show, if an emergency room doctor was trying to explain to us the stress and that goes into that, we can kind of see it, obviously we can see it if you watch
Grey's Anatomy
or anything like that. But in real life, we don't know because we're not there. Okay. So we don't really know all the intricate workings that go into that as a nurse, as as an RN, as an LPN, as a nurse practitioner, as a doctor, as
everything.
A surgeon.
I mean, police officer, EMT, first responder, any first responder,
fireman. Yeah, you don't understand that line of work and that stress. So for us to sit here, if the Nursing Association, okay, which by the way, the UAW covers a lot of these people. They are UAW nurses. Are they not educated? If they stand up and say,
I'm clipping this, by the way.
What's that?
I'm taking clips from you talking about the educated and not being educated.
Yeah.
And I'm going to promote the shit out of it.
You might as well. What do we have?
It's a comment, but I think it's a scam comment. So
yeah. But if you look at this, okay, if you look at this, if nurses were out on strike, the last thing I've ever done when I see them picketing is saying, how much money do they really need? How much money do they really want? They're making, I seen what the administration said for the hospital. They're making like $62 an hour, but you don't realize everything that the hospital is rolling into that.
Right.
They're
Healthcare, really everything.
They're really making like $37 an hour.
Yeah.
All right. Not 62, but they're rolling everything else into it. And then you have, people saying, well, I don't make $37 an hour, but they're saving lives. Okay. And in my own personal opinion, they should be making $62 an hour.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Teachers also.
Teachers for sure underpaid.
Yeah, there was recently I was talking to somebody about teachers. One of the things that they were striking over was being able to get massages as part of like their healthcare package. And I think that's a good thing. I'm like, they're under so much stress, and massages help so much with stress, like stress relief. Right. It's just such a good thing to do. I would strike over that too.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm all for natural ways of being able to cope with
it's therapeutic.
Stress. It's very therapeutic.
Therapeutic modalities, they call that. I mean, that's just something that is extremely important. Anybody who exercises, therapeutic modalities, that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I would strike over a gym membership.
and we do get that. We do get that. What is
reimbursement?
That reimbursement.
Gym reimbursement.
Let's see if the same negative feedback comes out for the blackjack dealers down in the casinos in Detroit.
How much do they make, or is it based on like tips and stuff?
They shouldn't make any more, according to everybody else, right? Why go? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, good for them. I mean,
I don't think
you can't count tips into their wage though, because that's not a constant stream of income.
Right. So how much do they make?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't even know. I haven't followed that close enough. Maybe shame on me. I'm
broke enough. I might look for a second job, so I could maybe tell you here in a couple of weeks.
Let me know, send me a message. I don't know, but you have them right now. They're on strike. Blue Cross Blue Shield.
They're on strike too.
We're just working on a tentative agreement.
They were. Oh, are they? Do they have one?
No, I'm saying us.
Oh, right. Yeah. They went on strike before we went on strike.
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. At least our plant, our facility.
Middle class America, it's time to get tired of corporate America. It's not anything personal against corporate America. It's personal, but it's not personal. It's not like we wish ill will on people that are in corporate America, but it's enough already with this profits over people.
Tips are gifts, not wages, is what Karen
hello, Miss Karen. Karen is a Lordstown retiree. She got moved to Bowling Green for a minute.
Oh wow.
And then was able to retire. It's been a couple years maybe now that she's been retired, but a good friend of mine it's been a long time friend.
Well, hi Karen.
For watching.
Thank you for watching.
Hi Karen.
Her and her husband, retirees of General Motors.
Wow, very cool.
So that kind of goes back with what she's saying there.
She said howdy.
That goes back to waitresses. Mm-hmm. They depend on tips. If you remember back in the day, was that during COVID? I can't remember because the tips were so bad, because no one was actually showing up to the restaurants because everything that was going on with COVID. Their hourly wage, which was like $3 an hour, it was absolutely destroying them.
My son's a server for a restaurant up in Mount Pleasant, and same thing. His wage it might be $3 an hour. Maybe if he's listening right now, I don't think he's listening right now. I think he's at a birthday party. So, but he solely depends on tips. And there's been days I've heard the story. He'll put out $100 bill and they're tipping change. And I know my son has a gift of a heart of gold. So I know his service I know he's treating them with love.
Yeah.
And,
that's a hard industry to be in.
Yeah. Because not only is it your personality, it's the personality of the person tipping you as well.
Right.
So you have to strike gold, which is not always that easy. There's mom.
Mama Sarge.
What did she say in there? Government.
I don't know why the comments aren't popping up.
Government sure taxes as if they're wages. Yeah.
Yeah, they sure tax as if they were wages. Always give cash.
She was a waitress back in her heyday. I remember my first job, I was 13. So I was working illegally. I was a busboy at a local restaurant, very popular local restaurant.
Is it still in business?
It is not.
They get shut down?
Because of you?
Not
because of you?
Me, not because of me. It was a long time family business. Gaetano's Airport Tavern. And I was a busboy. I worked, I think it was either every Friday at lunch in the summer and then Saturdays at lunch during school. I think I did it for not even a year. And I got $5 to send everything to the dishwasher and a free lunch. And I thought I was like king of the hill. $5 back then was like $30.
Yeah. I remember when I first started working, I was making $6.48 an hour. That was minimum wage.
I had my first job.
Obviously, it was lower when you hired.
$4.25, I think. $4.25 when I started.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had my first job when I was 13. I didn't want to wear the clothes that my dad bought me for school. He's like, if you don't like what I'm buying you, then go buy your own. And I was like, guess I'm going to work. I was like, can I clean up your roof and trash? And
that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
And then, but when my first job was at Meijer, my first government paid job was at Meijer. And I think minimum wage back then might've been $3.85.
Wow.
It was, but back then a gallon of gas might've been 70 cents.
Yeah. I mean, so this is the problem. The way inflation has taken over, it's not just what we've been dealing with for the last 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. It's what we've been dealing with. This has been a gradual increase in separation between purchasing power, and wages over the last 15 years. Well, and the catch up is we're not even coming close to catching up to that situation. Well, so
Tony, look at this. I mean, when I hired in back in 97, mm-hmm. When did you hire in?
I was a temp in 93. I hired in full time in 95.
Okay. So when I hired in 97, I think my pay was right around 16 an hour. And that's what these guys are starting off now, 27 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I hired in 10 years ago, I was making 14 something. And then we topped out at 17 something as a 2-tier. And then when they did away with that and did the in progression thing, then we got raises into the 20s. But
a couple months ago, I was down in Howell and driving around down there, and Qdoba was hiring at $18 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, another way to put this, another way to put this for everybody out there. When I hired in as a temp, we were called document 25s at one point, or 28s, and then document D2s. That's where we weren't temps.
R2D2s.
Yeah, R2D2s. When I hired in April of 93 as a temp, I was making $13.93 an hour, which was good money for a 22-year-old kid. Mm-hmm. So $13.93, and the temps now, before contract ratification, are making $16 and some change.
Yep.
They're making $3, a little less than $3 an hour more than what I was making
30 years ago.
30 years ago.
And then think about this too. Back then, at that time, it was a one income household. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
When I hired in there, predominantly the man was working at GM, mm-hmm. but his wife would be at home, and then they would have 3 or 4 kids, and then still have the lake house up north, both parents driving brand new cars and putting their kids through college. And it ain't happening like that nowadays.
No, it's not happening like that. And it just amazes me that people will look and say, you guys are what makes you think you deserve that type of money? As if we're asking to make 6 figures, and we're asking for we're asking to be millionaires. We're not asking to be millionaires. We're asking to make sure that whatever we're making, we're able to afford our kids a college education. We're able to put a roof over their head. I'm not asking for a built-in swimming pool inside the house. I'm asking for a house, clothes for my children, transportation for my children, college for my children, food on the table, to enjoy a family vacation, to enjoy taking kids here and there, to enjoy for myself some little luxuries, just simple things in life, really, really, that help you to enjoy life while you have it. And when you're behind the 8 ball the way we are, it gets harder and harder. And so all we're saying is nothing in terms of consumer, products and services everything's going through the roof. I went to McDonald's about 2 weeks ago. I went through the drive-thru. Yeah, I know everybody out there who knows me. Oh, you're a trainer and you went to McDonald's. Yes, folks.
How much was that?
So listen. Ron's like, just give us the price.
Just get to the point.
Get to the point.
All right, sorry.
So, I'm going to tell you. I promise.
My bad.
Ron,
skip the foreplay. Skip the foreplay.
So I go through the drive-thru, right? And I get the Egg McMuffin, no cheese. Because it's one of the best things you can get, where it's not great, but it's not the worst thing you can get at McDonald's. I get an Egg McMuffin, no cheese. I get 2 of them. I get to the window, and the girl's like, that'll be $10.75.
Whoa.
And I said, I ordered 2, not 4. And she starts laughing. She says, no, that's for 2 Egg McMuffins, no cheese.
My God. Just that.
Now you got your raise, you can afford the cheese.
Yeah. That ain't even cheese. That's the problem, Ron. It's not even cheese. I don't know what that is. That's processed nightmare.
More cheese for the cheese.
Yeah. So I mean, it's amazing. Like, if you try to take a family of 4, okay, anywhere, Wendy's, Burger King, any fast food restaurant, you are paying $45 to $50.
We went to
easily
Culver's, my 2 kids, my wife and I, the other day, Wednesday, I think it was our first day back. And yeah, it was like $45, and we just got regular meals. I mean, like a hamburger and fries and a soft drink. That was it. $45. And if we go to like an actual restaurant where you sit down, like not a fast food joint, just like maybe some mom and pop place that serves burgers and fries, $65 for the 4 of us, easily.
And this is the simple things in life we're talking about.
That's not even drinks.
Yeah.
Not even buying a drink.
We're just talking about a simple out to eat at Culver's. For those of you who don't know what Culver's is, it's basically Wendy's on steroids. I guess you could say.
Way better.
Way better.
Way better.
The
way
butter
better.
burger.
Yeah, but it's absolutely insane, the pricing. And so I don't care if whatever line of business you're in, you need to understand, you need to start figuring out what the profits are for your company, what they're doing with those profits, what the investments are, what they need to do to stay viable, to stay profitable. And also they have a handsome package themselves as far as what they're compensated with stock options and everything else that goes into that, not just their salary.
Yeah.
So you see that's all playing out for them just fine, and they're making billions of dollars, and you're still making $14.25 an hour. That's a problem.
That is a problem.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
It's crazy what the percentage difference, like the ratio.
212%, I think it is. Our CEO makes more.
Like you said, Tony, I'm not looking to get rich or wealthy here.
No,
but I just want to be able to live.
But I mean, it's a true testament that what we're doing is working, and it's just because, I mean, Sean Fain talked about it yesterday, yesterday or the other day when he was reviewing Stellantis's
2 days ago,
deal. He was saying that since the tentative agreement, Toyota and a couple other companies raised their employees' pay, benefits, and everything.
What did we talk about a couple of weeks ago?
This will help everybody.
Yeah,
it helps everybody.
It helps everybody.
Management, everybody.
Toyota, you're welcome. Seriously, because when they look at that, this is what Toyota management does. They look at that and they say, "Oh, great! Now they're going to want to organize here." Okay, the talk's going to start on the floor. Did you see what GM and Stellantis and Ford just did? What are we doing? Oh, wait a minute, guys. Here's what we're going to do for your pensions. Here's what we're going to do for your hourly rate. Here's what, and not only that, but our lower level management comes in different levels. Right? You have your level, I think 6 is your level 7, your level 8. I guarantee that the guys and girls right there with us on the line that are running the line, the group leaders, guarantee you they get a pay raise.
Oh, absolutely.
Guarantee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they say they don't, they're lying.
Yeah. And good for them. Good. Don't think they're not standing there saying, yeah. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it. They do deserve it. And you know what? In the midst of all this, while we're just, the CEO for Ford, I mean, I don't know. I could swear there was a violin playing every time he talked somewhere. Every time he said something, you would just cringe. But he tried to play this.
He's related to Chris Farley.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well, I like Chris better.
That's his cousin.
I was gonna say that too. I like Chris better.
I always, when I heard the name, I actually thought, but thought,
looks
there's
like
no
him
way.
He ain't living in a van down by the river.
No, but listen, they're talking about this is literally gonna bankrupt us as a company, and GM, they were saying this is going to bankrupt us.
Yeah, no way.
This is holding us to the fire and causing what could be the end of this corporation, so to speak. I'm paraphrasing, obviously there. And I turn around, third quarter profits, $3.1 billion, $44 billion in net revenue. And they're $1 billion in profit ahead of right now where they were a year ago, all in the middle of a strike. They had record profits in COVID. They had record profits in part shortages.
Mind you, we weren't building for part of that year.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
With that chip shortage, and they still had record profits.
Yeah, which is insane.
And it's funny, like when all this came out, one of the first things I seen in the media was, well, the price of cars are going to go up now that they're getting a raise.
Yeah.
The price of cars have went up over the last how long without a raise?
Yeah.
There was a guy that was on social media, and I say a guy because, I mean, basically, he's just giving an opinion. He's not anyone tied to the automotive industry. And he said, oh, I see that the price of vehicles will be going up now. Thanks a lot, Autoworkers. And it's not 8 to 12% of the cost of the vehicle to produce the vehicle is from labor costs. 8 to 12%. They said
it was like 4%.
Somebody said 4%, and I think they're a little low on that. They're a little low. But here's the thing, So 8 to 12%. In the last 16 years, like I said, my wages have gone up 3%. Wages have gone up about 3%.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of the vehicle has gone up 36%. Explain to me how in the world that even comes out and averages anywhere.
Well, then look at it as well as this, Tony. Over those number of years, look how many of our workforce has retired, and that the new workforce comes in making half of what those workers that have replaced them.
Yeah.
Or the cars that are made in Mexico. Blazers. What is that, a $40,000 car?
No,
I haven't looked at the price of a Blazer.
More.
But their pay down there is $3 to $4 an hour.
Well, yeah, they just got a raise. I think it's up to $3.90 an hour now.
Wow.
They're living large. Listen, I had people that went down to Mexico to one of the plants down there. They had to shadow the management teams down there when we were building the cruise in Lordstown. I think the cruise, the sister cruise was being built down there, right? And they went down there and they came back and they told me, they said, you wouldn't believe how it operates there. They have buses that go to the people's homes and pick them up and bring them to work and bring them home and feed them 3 meals a day. Feed them 3 meals a day.
How many hours do they work?
I don't know, but he didn't really say that. But he's and that was before they were making $3.90 an hour, and they're really happy about it. And that's great. That's great, but that's ridiculous. At the same time, it's ridiculous.
Especially when each car is sold for $40,000+.
Yeah.
Minimum.
We can get up into the 60s easy with some of the vehicles coming out of Mexico. So explain that to us. Yeah. Explain why you have to raise that. I mean, what kind of tariffs are you paying on these vehicles as they're coming back in?
Right.
It's very interesting. They're talking about needing the profit to invest. I'd love to sit down with them and talk to them seriously, because
you're not educated enough.
I think. Well, here's the thing. I think a lot of people think that we're mad that our company is very profitable. No, I love the fact that we have the right people in place that know how to keep this company viable. But there's a difference between moral and greed and decision making, and it's starting to cross over into greed just a little bit now. And what I'd like to know from them is, when as I lose my train of thought because my head's going in 50 different directions. It's hard.
You like to sit down with them and talk to them.
Yeah, I would love to sit down and talk to them and just ask them, when you talk about you need the profits that you're making on a yearly basis in order to reinvest these profits into EV technology, where's the money going from the United States government that has given you billions of dollars? General Motors, Stellantis, Ford. You've been allotted billions of dollars in taxpayer money to help with your investment in research and development, R&D, for future prospects, future aspects in terms of building electric vehicles. So where did all that money go that you're being allotted by the United States government, that you need all $13 billion on top of that? And it makes me sit there and wonder, where is somebody lying at just a little bit? I mean, it has to be somewhere.
Unfortunately, you could sit down and talk with them, but they ain't going to give you a right answer. No. They ain't going to give you an answer.
No.
They'll give you an answer, but it ain't going to be the right one.
And here's the thing. Do they really care what I think?
Absolutely not.
No, there's right now on the live, there's 9 people watching, and Mary is not one of them, right? The CEO for our company, Mrs. Mary Barra, is not one of the people watching this particular episode. Wow, she's probably watching. She's probably watching right now.
Hey, Mary, how you
doing?
We know
who is. Hey, Mary. I'll tell you who is
Mary.
watching.
Mary, if you're watching, I have a Patreon. Please donate.
But my mother made $1.25 an hour minimum wage when Jimmy Carter was president. Yeah, I was like, geez, I think I was 6 years old when Jimmy Carter was president. 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. That was a long time ago.
So the base starting rate for a Chevrolet Blazer that's made in Mexico is $36,495.
There you go.
That's the base rate.
That's the base rate.
Yeah. That's literally the base rate. So you're talking way over 40 as you continue to add the options to the vehicle. Huh?
And they're making $4 an hour.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. But
well, you got to figure that when Lordstown was open, the Chevy Cruze sold probably roughly around for 20, because I bought a Cruze.
Yeah.
When I first hired in at GM, I paid $25,000 for it, and it was almost fully loaded.
What year?
It was 2014.
Okay.
RS package, turbo and everything.
Okay.
Fast and Furious over there. Huh?
Yeah, man. I got hired in. I'm like, I need a cool car. And so it was cool looking, and I got it. But yeah, $25,000, and that was built here in the United States, and they're building that in Mexico. It's $35,000.
Well, they built the 2-door there, I believe, or was it Brazil? They built the 2-door. We only built the 4-door.
Okay, yeah, mine was a 4-door.
Yes, yeah. So your car came from Lordstown.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. In 2000, not to change the subject, but it kind of made me think about something. So when we landed the Cruze at Lordstown, that was a big deal. I believe president of General Motors operations, is it Mark Roos? He was there for the grand, revealing of the new car, and it was a pretty cool little car. I mean, we really liked it, and it was the only car we were building. That always made us nervous. We were normally, a 2-car operation, and we were.
What did you guys build before that?
We built the Cobalt.
Oh, okay.
And then before that was the Sunfire, the Sunbird.
Yeah. Those are good cars.
The Cavalier.
They're still running around on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. I see a Cavalier every now and then. I'm like, wow, that car's got to have 400,000 miles on it.
Did you guys build the 2-door and 4-door version of those?
I can't remember.
Wow.
We built the Cavalier station wagon.
I've never seen that.
When I first started.
You're too young for that, Dave.
Yeah. Cavalier station wagon.
I think it's bananas. I listened to one of the last episodes you guys did, and I heard that when 97, was it 97, you bought a fully loaded Tahoe for 27 grand?
26.8.
What are they, 90 now for that same equivalent?
Yeah. And it's all our fault.
It's all our fault.
It's all our fault.
Make too much money.
So 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, we were in JD Powers, we were at the top when it came to quality. The Cruze in its segment, in its market, was top notch. It was making tons of money for General Motors all the way through 2014. We were by executives, we were told we were the savior of General Motors coming out of bankruptcy. And 2015, we got a new CEO, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden things changed. And, you know, it was, and one of the biggest things that we noticed that changed was the marketing of the crews. No more commercials. No more. There was no more where you would find the crews at an enterprise car rental, you know, or any, it wasn't, you know, out there as a fleet car anymore. It wasn't out there in newspapers and magazines. It was like the marketing for it completely stopped. And I personally believe that's when they started already getting the ball rolling for the closing of Lordstown. I really do. And at that, I'll never not think that. Just everything just fit right in.
GM wasn't the only one that did that though, right? There was a lot of car companies that got rid of sedans.
Over time. Well, domestic, yes.
Right.
I don't think foreign though. I think foreign car companies looked at this as an opportunity to grow their market. Yeah. To grow their segment. And they did. I mean, they did. If somebody likes small cars, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that want to drive small cars.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Especially like if you go like out west, like New Mexico, Arizona, those places, and even down south, most people drive like small 4-cylinder vehicles, like cars. I've seen them everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody has them.
I don't know, like somewhere along the line, we went from what does the customer want to we're going to force this down your throat.
Right.
It just seems that way to me.
I mean, it's like that right now with the electric vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. It's not about let's find out what the customer wants and let's see what we need to do. Yeah. Let's formulate a plan to make sure we get what the customer wants out to them. Now we're going to be all EV by 2030 and you're going to follow suit, whether you like it or not. And I don't understand that. I'm not all on board with the environment thing, you know, as far as what the government is saying. The government is saying that in order to protect us from the environment, the way it is now, to make the environment better, we have to be all EV by 2030.
Yeah.
And there's so many different things about EV that are not environmentally safe.
I don't see it.
The batteries.
The
batteries are the biggest problem.
Yeah. Mining the lithium for the batteries, and that in of itself is a disaster right now.
Yeah.
It's just it's pressure, and I don't know how this all plays out when it's all said and done. I really don't. The infrastructure is not set up for this. It is not. So we're going to have to wait and see. Now, am I against an EV? No, I'm not against it, but don't force it down my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many resources go into making an EV vehicle? I mean, you think about these factories that they're building, the battery factories. How much of that factory is going to be green?
I'll find out. Maybe there's a possibility I'm going to find this out in the near future. And that's not even a done deal yet.
What's the other thing besides lithium? I'm trying to think of the name of
cobalt.
Cobalt.
Yeah.
That too. They can only find that in a couple places in the world, right?
Yeah. It's
if I'm not mistaken.
Amazon.
Yep. The Amazon and
the Congo.
So that of itself, getting it mined and then getting it here.
She said, so what was the outcome of the contract? We probably should talk about the contract.
Yeah.
So we have that pulled up. Let me add it to the screen.
David is going to add to the screen.
There we go.
The highlights.
The
highlights of the.
I am setting eyes on this for the first time.
All right, hold on. It's not letting me.
How come nobody on our bargain committee ever smiles?
They got to look serious.
Got to look gangster.
Got to look gangster.
Got to look gangster.
All right, so the 10% of the 401k I can't talk right now. Employer contribution.
That's because you're uneducated.
So, uneducated. Yes. $1,500 voucher towards a vehicle. Cool. COLA reinstated. Just transition battery work under master agreement. That's pretty vague.
It is. Well, being that these are the highlights, what we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have a whiteboard. Is that what they call it? Where it's more detailed.
White book.
White book.
I think that's what they said earlier.
The white book where it's more detailed for us to be able to look at. It's like a Webster's dictionary, I think. And we have to really look at what everything is. I know the 10% 401k employer contribution. So basically, anybody who was hired after 2008 does not receive a pension. But what GM wants to do is, what were they offering?
It's like 6.2%.
6.2% match.
Yep.
Now they want to go between 8 and 10%, or here it says 10%.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily that you have to contribute anything to your 401k.
I don't think so.
From what I understand, they'll put 10% of whatever
No
your
matter
gross
what.
earnings were into your 401k. So that's what, I guess that is what they're going to do for anybody hired after 2008 that does not have a pension. So I would.
Well, that's great if they don't. That's great if they don't have to put in and they still put in. But is that for sure they're putting in that 10% whether they put in or not?
That is what I read, but I literally read it one time, so I can't be for sure. If somebody's watching that knows the true answer to that, by all means, let us know.
I don't know why this.
It's funny, like we talked earlier. I've had a couple the younger, I hate to say younger kids, but to me they are, but they're in their young 20s, and they say to me, it sucks that we don't get a pension like you do. I'm like, man, if you play your cards right, smart with your money, invest it, do it right with your 401k and have them match it, you could be done faster than 30 years and still have more money.
Yeah.
But they still want to buy their 19 different PlayStations and have 4 different TVs for it. You can tell they're not smart with their money.
No, and neither was I at 22 years
old. No, not at all. But
neither was I. So
I still ain't. I'm 49.
I bought a brand new Cruise.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, basically with that 401k, that is a nice investment for me. I wish that there can be some type of healthcare
after retirement,
VIBA after retirement offered to them, and the 401k plan.
Yeah.
That to me would make me feel a little bit better for them as far as, solidarity and looking out for fellow brothers and sisters. I'm a pension person. Because I deserve it. No, because I got lucky. Right. I hired in when I did. It's pure luck. It's not because I build the car better than everybody else. So, that's something I'm grateful for, but I think you have to adjust your sails at some point. And something else people have to realize, there's stipulations in the contract always that if certain expectations are not met, and I don't know if it's just from net revenue or if it's from profitability or what it is, where you have to be in the red and for how long you have to be there, they could start working on ways to come after the pensions for everybody who has one. It's not etched in stone.
Something they could take away anytime.
Yeah. Right. If General Motors goes under, which they're not going to,
we're done.
We don't get a pension.
We're making too much money now. So
yeah, that's true.
One thing I heard that someone said to me that VR, if we use a VR day, that it won't go towards our overtime for the week.
It's either the VR or the VP. It's either the vacation day with pay or the sick day, which we're allotted 5 a year. It won't go towards. So in other words, if you work,
if you call in on a Tuesday, it won't go. So if you call in on a Tuesday, we work that Saturday.
Right.
You're
straight time.
It's straight time on Saturday.
Yeah. But it's like that right now, right?
No.
You get time and a half for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you call in on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's time and a half.
Yeah, but even if you call in on a Tuesday and still work your Saturday, you'll get time and a half. But from what I hear,
if it's vice versa.
Well, now going forward, what I heard is that if you call in on a Tuesday where work Saturday, that VR day won't go towards your overtime.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
So you could work Saturday for straight time?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one. And
then I heard the FMLA is changing as well.
Yeah, I did hear that.
So the FMLA is actually going back to the way the government
wanted it to.
Has it with any other type of corporation.
Yeah, it's like that everywhere.
Like that everywhere. And so everybody out there with FMLA, it's really all that they're doing is they're going to follow corporate guidelines.
The federal guidelines.
Government, yeah.
GM was what GM was doing was given the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And then all the abusers came in and just took advantage of it. And
that's what pisses me off.
People say the abusers, but they also created this culture. They created a culture where people feel like they have to abuse the system because they don't give you time off.
I could recant that statement, but you got people that
I understand what you're saying.
I won't say abuser, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So we have, listen, we have a huge basket of apples, right? And you're going to have the majority of the apples are good apples. Then you have two other types of apples. You have the apples that aren't yet quite rotten, and then you have the apples that are just flat out rotten. Okay, and thank God it's the less of the of all the percentages,
right?
But because of these 3 or 4 here, you have these 50 great apples. Then you have about 8 or 9 that they're not bad, okay, but they're starting to take advantage, and then you have these 3 taking advantage, and it ruins it for anybody in the good apples that need FMLA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's anywhere you go, though. And if you're mad at me, you work for GM and you're mad at me right now, you're probably one of those bad apples. So, I mean, listen, if you're somebody that just doesn't show up for work, life will get you. And when life gets you, sometimes you need time out of work. That's a given, right? That's a given. Sometimes you can't be there. If
do I know that?
Yeah. So let's say I'm going to use me as an example. Let's say my kids need me back at home. My son's having surgery.
Right.
All right. I have to go home. I don't have any vacation day. I don't have any sick days. I have to use FMLA. I have to. I got to get home to surgery. Right. Let's say I just wake up and I'm like, oh man, the game's on. Michigan State in Michigan are on. Go green, go white. I can't go to work today. I mean, do we do it? We do that sometimes, right? Everybody does that here.
Everybody does it.
But don't sit there and complain that you didn't get paid vacation because you decided that today you wanted to watch the game. It doesn't. I understand what you're saying. I'd rather watch the game than work too.
Right.
But sometimes we complain about things that and then what happens is the people that need it because they definitely need time out of work.
Yeah.
For so many different reasons, they're the ones that are gonna get screwed.
Well, and not only that too, Tony and Dave, that to get approved for it now is way harder than it was when it first started.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to jump through the hoops to get it.
Is that something GM's doing? Because it's done through like a third party company,
or not Stellantis. Yeah, Stellantis is behind the scenes there. What are they?
That's Sedgwick.
Sedgwick. Yeah. Sedgwick. Same thing.
Same thing. They build cars too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's unfortunate because FMLA is definitely something that is a necessity for so many people, and I can't stand when you get yours. I've heard people say this before. You get people, sometimes they'll say, I'm not just talking about auto workers, by the way, everyone. I'm talking about anybody who is working anywhere and they say, yeah, I got the golden ticket at work.
You know what that means?
Yeah, you got wrote up.
I got the golden ticket. Well, no, they're saying that they have FMLA.
They have FMLA.
So if they don't feel like going to work,
I heard it for write-ups too.
Yeah.
When you get the yellow sheet for being wrote up.
Oh no, I'm talking about about like a guy doesn't even work at GM or for the auto industry.
Oh right, okay.
He says, yeah, I got the golden ticket at work, so if I don't feel like going in, I don't go in. What the hell is that? Right? I mean, like if there's a reason why you're not going in, that's just I could never be in charge of any like labor relations or anything like that because I'm for the hard workers. And I'm for the people that need something because they got something going on. And so to be there for them. And I don't have time for this small group over here that's completely screwing the majority of the people up. You know what I mean?
Well, those people that are screwing it up for everybody, those are the same people that will take advantage of the FMLA. Then they're posting pictures of themselves on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So certain people have been fired for that.
So the whole thing with the FMLA, it's partially because they wanted to go back to federal standards, and it's also partially because they're tired of the bad apples, and it ruins it for what is literally the majority of the people that actually need it for so many different reasons. And so that's unfortunate, but that's where we're at.
So just to highlight some things, let's go back to the top. Hold on. I'll pull it back on the screen. I'm all the way at the top. All right, so we got cost of living. Cost of living's back. Just transitioned to battery plants, $5,000 ratification bonus. And also I heard that for the people that were on strike, we're going to get some sort of back pay. some sort of pay for that.
Yeah, from what I understand, there's a whatever the formula is going to be per day that you were on strike.
Right.
That'll be rolled into your ratification bonus.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm assuming. I don't think it's going to be paid out over.
I thought I heard somebody say it was $100 a day.
Maybe.
Is that
that's what Ford did?
Okay.
Yeah.
So 100 to 110.
Paid parental leave. What is that?
Don't know. I'm a parent. Does that mean I can just leave? I don't know.
I'm a parent.
Yeah. And so I think it's 2 weeks, and I think it's paid. Yes. And it can't be if you are expecting as a mom, or if you're a dad who wants to be home when your wife has the baby.
Yeah.
So that's way more than 2 weeks. That's 3 months, I believe. 12 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, is it 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
But you can get up to 12 weeks of like FMLA.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Again,
I might be wrong on that.
So is the paid parental leave, is that considered maternity leave?
I have no idea.
I don't think it is. I think it's for something else, and I don't know what though. So
that's something because I think it would be great for like for instance for you, like you and Amanda, Dave. Like, what if your kids are sick? Then you're burning your VR time, or Amanda's burning her VR time, and then when you guys get sick, then you're just screwed.
Yeah.
Then you're getting rode up because you got to take those extra days off. I wonder if that falls into that. So like the paid parental leave, if your kids are sick, I wonder if could you delve into that? I wonder if that's
possibly,
you know what I mean?
That's questions you have to ask at the
rollout meeting. You got kids that, you got parents that are at work with their kids in daycare. And if they get just a runny nose, they're not allowed to go to daycare.
Right. Yeah.
So those parents are definitely calling in that day. And then when they get sick, they're out of VR time.
Edward Dudley has something.
You know Ed? Do you know Ed?
I do not know Ed.
He ran the marathon that I did. He did the half marathon.
Okay. What did he say? The attendance?
Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up. The attendance was changed for an extra step, but I also hear tardiness is part of Doc 8 now.
That's all. Those are all good questions we need to ask.
I know tardiness was always frowned upon more than being absent.
Yeah,
I did
seriously
hear this.
Mm-hmm. Seriously,
I did hear this. And Ed, if you know the answer, let us know, Ed, if you know the answer to this. I did hear that if you are going to be tardy, you have to call in. You have to call in.
Like call in. Call in.
Like call your boss, I think.
What?
Call your boss or not the 1-800?
I don't know. The way that if I don't know if we have any members of the UAW Facebook page on here yet. I'm assuming we don't, or this thing will be blowing up with people yelling at us left and right. I've never seen so many upset people in my life, but did you ever go on there?
Oh yeah.
You go, if you read 3 comments, not only do you lose brain cells, but you literally, I'm out of breath. My face is red. I don't even know why I'm upset. and I got to go outside for a walk. I mean, it's like you feel like you need to go give somebody a hug. I mean,
yourself.
I don't know why I get why it's a serious situation. I don't get how going on and just literally going off every day. It's the same people just going off. It's not going to help anything. It's not going to change anything.
Because misery loves company, man.
Yeah. I mean,
they're looking for it.
I didn't hear that, but
but wasn't it considered a shop rule last contract?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is that? Tardiness?
Yeah, tardiness being part of Doc 8.
I think it actually is or has been
part of a Doc 8.
Yeah,
I thought it was a shop rule. Wasn't it a shop rule?
I don't know. I've been in trouble for everything, man. All the sheets are the same color, man. They're all gold.
Folks, when we're talking about the bad apple, we're talking about Ron. Yeah.
But I don't FMLA, man. I just, not afraid to get rode up.
Well, sometimes
life gets in the way. We'll just put it that way. Life got in the way. So,
listen. And what did I say? I said sometimes that's the purpose of having that.
Right.
Is because of that.
Yeah.
Because that's true. That's a serious situation.
Yeah.
So I mean, the people that say, "Well, I'm going fishing because I got the golden ticket," and so then you're in shock because you're in trouble.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's people that would have FMLA, and then they would. There was a guy that had FMLA, and he would run a fish charter during the summertime.
I know who you're talking about.
I think we might have talked about this.
I know who you're talking about.
Didn't he get fired for it? They hired.
I think he's still working there.
They hired an investigator, and they caught him.
Okay.
Right?
Does his name start with a B?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyway,
I thought he was still. I should text him to see if he's still working.
Do it right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Why don't we just post names? No, but so listen, again, you have 60 apples, 50 of them are great, and then you got a few of them that are bad. The only thing that makes me mad about all these rule changes and things like that is because of the small percentage that cause the problems for so many great workers. And I'll be the first person to say I know for a fact that 90% of our workforce are fantastic.
I had gotten FMLA once back. It was 10 years ago when my dad was passing away, and he was living in Florida at the time. And I was starting to go down there every other weekend. And when I got approved for FMLA, they unlimited me. And I asked the lady, I'm like, wait a minute. Are you telling me I don't have to go to work for the rest of the year? She's like, make sure you call both numbers. At that time, when my dad was passing away, I still didn't take advantage of it. I think I might, from the time I got it in March to the time he passed away in September, I might have used 10 days, maybe. But like you said, I didn't take advantage of it. I very well could have, but I felt guilty for doing that.
See, you could have, and understandably
I would have felt
so.
Right.
Understandably so. Who in the world would even, and if somebody did have a problem with it, I mean, that's the last thing you should care about. I mean, that's a serious, I mean, it doesn't get much more serious than that. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And somebody dying.
Yeah. I mean, so that's part of they're arguing about that a lot. And I don't know, where to go with that. I want to point out something here on the tuition assistance. Folks, I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to ask you to please always look into this. If you notice that tuition assistance is $8,000, I believe, a semester. I don't know if it's a semester or not. If it's a year.
It does say.
Yeah. But it actually increased. And then now your spouse even, it says dependents reinstated at $1,600. I graduated from college with a degree, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. And that's thanks to General Motors. I don't care if you're going to use this degree or not to whatever extent you may use it or may not use it. Take advantage of being able to use, and it doesn't have to be a college degree either. I don't think it's a college. It'd
be like certificates or things like that.
Yeah. Use this and take advantage of what they're offering you to further educate yourself in whatever you may think about going into, so that if you don't stay with General Motors, you have that background.
Yeah.
And any walking in with that in your hand is like a loaded weapon, going into
that's free money.
Yeah.
That is free money.
It's free money.
More tools in your tool belt.
Yeah. It's free money. Take advantage of that. I got my roommate who's up here with me from Lordstown. He got his bachelor's degree using General Motors tuition assistance. He got his master's degree, and now he's going, and I don't even know what he's going for now. He's going for some other type of special certification that he's going for. And it's all on General Motors dime. I think like almost 80 to 90% of it.
Wow.
I'm going to start utilizing it myself.
Yeah.
Next year.
Take advantage of that. People, I know there was one person that said on the members of the UAW's Facebook page, he said, well, they're just increasing that because they know nobody uses it. Well, then use it. I mean, take advantage of it. I'm telling you guys, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with that. So I see that. And then I saw his comment, and I thought, no, that's not how you should be looking at that.
And you knew how uneducated we all are.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. And another thing here, and you guys tell me what you think about this. When I got hired in 1995, it was a 3-year progression to top rate. So I got hired in, and then 6 months later, I got a raise. 6 months later, I got a raise. And at the end of 3 years, I was at top rate. A lot of people are saying that it's at 3 years now. And I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. They dropped that. That was at 8 years for everybody out there who's not, an auto worker with General Motors. It was at 8 years at one point in order to help the company save money over time.
It took me 9 years to top out.
But that's after they got hired in.
Yes.
So they could be a temp for 2 years.
Right.
So actually that'd be a 10-year.
Right.
Yep.
So now there's a progression as a temp to get there faster, to get hired. And it only takes 3 years. And a lot of people are coming on and saying, well, there's still a tier system. That's not a tier system, ladies and gentlemen. That is how it was before. And all that President Fain and the negotiators did was get it back to where it was at before the bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we were asking for. We're not going to, you don't go to any job, walk in day one, and they say, we're going to pay you as much as this young lady over here who's been with us for 10 years.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. You have to progress to a certain extent. What we were mad about is the ridiculousness on how long it was taking to get to top rate. It was absolutely ridiculous. So that's one thing. Another thing people have to understand. People right now that are in progression, they're getting upset because, well, they've been there for a year, one full year, full time.
Yeah.
Now they want to go to top rate right now. No. What is it? 3 years?
Yep.
You have 1 year in, you have 2 more years to go.
Yep.
Now, if they were to say to you, no, you start now and you have 3 years, I'd have a problem with that.
Right.
Right.
But if you already have 1 or 2 years in, then you have 1 or 2 more years to go. If you already have 3 years in, then you're there.
You're there.
If you have 4 years in, you're behind a year, you'll go right to top
You're right there.
Yeah.
So some people are mad because they're saying, well, I had to go through that whole 8-year process. Yeah, I know, but you have to start somewhere.
But it's now fair for the next generation.
Yeah. And but a lot of time, but too, that's what's funny is like when we do go to strike, we're also fighting for the future employee and future workforce.
Yeah.
We're not just fighting for ourselves. And you get a lot of people that say, well, that's not fair. I had to do this. Well, that's why you're fighting. Yeah. That's why you're striking, that you're in the fight to help the future workforce. So they don't have to go through what you did.
Right. Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
And some people just don't get that.
No. And I'm going to say something to the legacy workers. I'm one of you. So I get to tell you. All right. I get to tell you because I'm one of you. Stop it already with this. We're not getting as much of an increase as somebody who is in their second year of progression. They're going to go. So you have some people that have been there for 4 years. It was going to take 8, but because of this new contract, they're going to be right there with us now at that. I forget what it is, 35, 80, 82. I'm not sure what the number was. And so they're going to get almost an $8 an hour raise, especially with the cost of living.
Yep.
They could actually be $36 with the cost of living or close to it.
Yeah.
And we're only going to get a close to $4 an hour raise.
Yeah.
Well, why are they getting so much more? If you look at what you've been making more than them over the past, since they've been hired, it's in the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah. So now they're never going to get up to where you were at. That money is never going to be recuperated.
Never.
Yeah.
And you guys are looking at it completely wrong. The whole purpose is to get us all on the same level and equate us. It's not for, well, we should all, and then we all need to jump up to $42 right now. That $42 for everybody at home, we're so far behind the 8 ball that even with this contract, we're still behind the 8 ball.
We're still going to be way behind it.
We are. And this is where everybody's angry. And I get it. I get it because it's that frustration that a lot of people don't know about. It's just coming out now because it's so, the media, everyone, it's so focused on right now. But we've been fighting this fight internally. And I think the problem is that these people don't, what people may not understand is everybody's frustrated because their thought process is it's been 16 years. We should be at 47% higher than we were in order to make up for everything we've already lost. That's why it's called bargaining. I mean, that's why it's called negotiating.
Yeah.
They're going to get so much, and then you're going to have to live to fight another day. And guys, if you think that under the old, your favorite word, under the old regime, under the old Darth Vader, Hitler, Corella DeVille, and all the rest of these people that were our international union, if you think we would have got even close to where we're at now, I'll give you a story real quick.
I'm going to program that theme song into my sound machine.
Dun, dun,
Every
dun.
time I push this button.
that would be a copyright issue. I don't know.
It
Have
might
to get a hold of C3PO. But
Better get a hold of Disney on that.
So listen, in 2019, okay, the International Union came to Lordstown and stood right there with us. The International, I'm talking the highest up there too, and stood there in a circle of us. All right at the A33 doors and over on Final Line Tire Hang, and they were telling all of us, we were asking about early retirements and everything. Was it SAP? I think it is. And they started yelling at us. We're not giving in that way. This is a fight. It's either Lordstown, Baltimore, Detroit, Hamtramck, or no contract. First of all, I thought that was crazy because you can't just make it all about us in the international contract. It's got to be about everybody. So I thought that was weird, but I was like, okay, that's a big statement you're making. And then when we sent everybody up there during contract talks, and there was a big bus ride up there, and they called our shop chairman in, and he gave an emotional speech to everybody, that was inside the room. And I heard it was a great speech, actually. And then after that was over, and they did some more negotiating, and then they called him back in and told him we did everything we could. There was nothing more we can do. 2019. 2023, Fane not only gets Belvedere back for Stellantis that was shuttered, but also gets Lordstown workers the opportunity to go back home.
Yeah.
So if that was all that they could do back then, look what they did even more so now. This contract is 5 times better than we would have ever seen. What have we gotten since 2015? A 6%, 12% almost increase altogether? 3%, 3%, whatever.
I thought it was 6% total
in the last 9 years.
Oh, yeah. So probably 12%.
Here we are at 25%. Like people have to step back from the anger, because it's what we call incidental emotion. We're getting emotional based on incidents that we've already experienced. And so I get it. I understand where that's coming from, but you have to understand that what we've gained is literally double than we would have ever gained under who was in
the old regime.
easily. And some people might not want to hear that, but it's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I agree with everything in there. I don't agree with everything in there, but it's called bargaining. It's called, it's a labor dispute. And now you have to figure out, what are we going after? What are we laying off of? What are we really going after? How are we going to go after it? And how are we going to set our chessboard up, not just for these contracts, but to get ready for 2027, or now it's 2028, April 30th.
Yeah, 28. Yep.
Yeah. So you guys have to understand that. When people say it's a no for me, I completely respect that. But make sure you have a reason. Don't just sit there and say, well, I don't like this with FMLA. Well, you got to get more than that. I mean, you have to get more than that. So make sure that when you're saying no, it's in the best interest of you, your family, and everybody who's involved in your life. Not just because, well, I can't
go fishing on a Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, it can't work that way. I know another thing that a lot of people are mad about is the work-life balance.
Yeah.
I don't know we gained a holiday.
Yeah. Juneteenth
is, we got one extra day off.
Yeah.
And then it was up to 5 weeks vacation, but I don't think that has anything to do with me because I'm already there.
Right. Yeah. No, it's the in-progression people like myself. Now,
so you'll get there faster.
I don't know if it's faster, but now I can get that because we couldn't get 5 weeks prior.
Oh,
that's right. So now you can, right?
Right. So we would top out at, I think, 160 or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So now we'll get the 200 hours.
Will it take you 20 years like it did Tony and I?
I don't know. That's something that will have to be checked in the contract.
Because is that what it took you, Tony?
Yes.
20 years. It took me 20 years, yeah, to get that full 200.
I would assume it's probably the same. I'm sure now we're just a part of that.
That's good.
No, it is good.
It's really good
about that.
Yeah.
Edward just said after 20 years. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What do you all think about performance bonuses being taken away?
Well, didn't they took that away in lieu of cost of living, right?
Yeah. Well, in lieu of cost of living. And I also think it was a bargaining chip. This is me just guessing based on wanting to give our retirees something as far as their pensions are concerned.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the formula is right now. Is it $5 for every year that they worked for General Motors is going to be added on as a monthly I don't know what it is. They're getting the Christmas bonus though, right? They're getting the 500 every year.
Every year. And their spouses if they're no longer alive.
Yeah. So the way I looked at it when I looked at the bonuses, at first I was like, well, that's a bunch of, but then I looked at it and I started figuring out, and I'm going to get on a 40-hour work week for 52 weeks over the course of the year. I'm going to make about $7,200 more a year just based on my raise. That's just on, and we don't work 40 hours. So it's going to be probably closer to $10,000 more just working, your mandatory Saturdays and not working any overtime in the second shift and all that. But so I looked at that and I said, okay, the $1,500 performance bonus, like Ed was just saying,
that was 2 times a year, right?
Yeah.
1,005,
1,500,
okay.
Or the almost $10,000 in my raise. I'll take the, that's the way I looked at it. I'm not saying everybody has to look at it that way, but if that's what they gave up so that we can get, like, some people are going to make.
Well, now that they uncapped profit sharing, profit sharing is still uncapped, right?
Yes, I believe
no ceiling. No ceiling.
Yeah, there's no.
Because before, I know there was a couple of years when we maxed out, but if there was no cap, I think we would have been in the 17s or 18s.
Right. Yeah.
So if we can hit, if our profit sharing is uncapped, I'm okay with an uncapped losing to 1,500.
Yeah.
Just leave our profit sharing uncapped.
Yeah.
Especially if they're making record profits.
Yeah, that's the thing, Ed. We don't know what what the bargaining was. There's so many different committees I don't think people really can appreciate. I can't even appreciate it. I've never been there. How many different committees?
I would like to see the process.
It has to be intense. Crazy. It has to be intense.
Yeah.
You have your
I thought it'd be inside an office building. Not intense.
I got it wrong. I'm laughing.
He's still figuring it out.
No, I'm reading a comment.
He's reading over there.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said it had to be intense, and he goes, I think it would be in an office building, not tense. That's Ron's humor today. Hey, you drew in a few more people on that comment. No, I think it would be fascinating to watch the bargaining, because it's not just the CEO of the company and Sean Fain arm wrestling at the table, right? It's committee set up. There's a committee over here that their whole argument is about pensions.
Yeah.
This committee over here is about absenteeism and attendance and FMLA. This committee over there is about pay raise, profit sharing, and you have accountants at the table. You have attorneys on both sides at the table, and all that legal jargon going back and forth. And it has to be an intense process.
Yeah. Get the drunk bowler in there without a filter. That'd be fun. The uneducated drunk bowler.
There's got to be a few guys in there that just let it fly, right?
Oh,
on both sides.
For sure.
If you were a fly on the wall. I mean,
oh my gosh.
If you work in the automotive industry, folks, I don't care if you're on the management side or the union side, sometimes you don't even realize that you swearing is almost like a rite of passage. Like, I'll go home and say to myself, why did I really talk like that today? Seriously. I mean, why you don't even think about it. I'm talking to a 64-year-old grandmother, right? 8 grandkids, and she's talking to me like we're at a truck stop. I mean, just their mouth on these people sometimes. And it's just like, it's not that. Then you see them outside of work. And it completely changed. Their demeanor completely changed.
It's even funnier when you find out they go to church and then they talk like that at work.
Yeah, she's calling you a sea sucker, and
it's just amazing how. So we went off on a tangent there, but it is amazing how the process probably works, and I think that's why it takes so long, and it's so tedious over such a long period of time.
Yeah.
When you have to represent 147,000 people, that's 147,000 different personalities. You're going to have a lot of angry people. Like, I know, like my roommate and a couple other people I talked to, they said, everybody's, right now in GM, I think everybody's saying no. Then there's a shock. And then this happened in the last couple of contracts. I don't understand this. It passed 85% to 15%. Well, I think the problem is everybody's saying no.
But they're really voting yes.
Well, none of that, but there's like 20,000 people on this page.
Right.
But there's
150,000 people that work for the big three.
Yeah. So
there's
a lot of people that are just looking at you guys, like spying on you, not saying anything.
But they're also just loud. That's just a loud.
There's a loud group,
loud minority of people.
Yeah. I went on there one time and I said, somebody here, please just define the word union for me. I just want a definition of it because I'm completely screwed up.
Was there a lot
now.
of fights in the comments?
And there was, I felt so good about myself. I had some laughing emojis. You start to feel good about yourself. People are laughing. You think to yourself, maybe I could be a comedian. But it
does run in the family.
Yeah. What's that?
It runs in the family.
It does run in the family for sure. But
he has a cousin that's a comedian.
Vinny Fastline.
Yeah. I met him at a Dane Cook concert in Mount Pleasant. And I didn't even know. Well, I might have known you at the time.
You did, because you sent me a message and you said, how do you know? Because you see me, we went back and forth with, I think it was a happy birthday thing. And I told him, love you. And he said, love you, cuz. And then you texted me.
I was like, how do you know
Vinny Fastline?
Come to find out they're cousins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was wild. And he opened for Dane Cook.
You know how he went out to California? Sebastian Maniscalco, he opened up for him in Pittsburgh a long time ago. Sebastian told him, you need to get your ass out to California.
Wow.
Don't wait.
Wow.
And so he went, and he's doing well. He's got a lot of what do you call it? Irons in the fire.
Yeah.
And he's doing pretty good.
That's a hard industry to break through.
It is a hard industry for sure.
That last time I hit rehab, there was a guy that is a stand-up comedian, and he was actually, some of the stories was with Joey Diaz that you can famously hear.
Yeah.
With Tom Segura, and he was in part of some of those stories, and he actually I just texted him a couple days ago, and he was getting out of the business because it's detrimental to his sobriety.
Wow.
So, but he said the same thing, just definitely it's a hard business to crack.
Yeah. I mean, no
pun intended.
Well, you think about
it's
a lot of comedians.
It's a hard business to get successful in.
Yeah. You think about a lot of comedians that have, unfortunately taken their lives.
Yeah.
You don't see the depression. The comedy hides it. And Robin Williams, probably the most famous think about,
didn't he have like something wrong with his brain?
I don't know if there was something like medically wrong from like a blockage or something like that, or if it was more psychological.
Yeah.
But he just was, you would never have guessed it.
He's one of the greats of all time, the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the masters of physical comedy.
Yes.
For sure. But I promised a lot of the Lordstown people that we would talk about the opportunity here as far as going back to the battery plant, Ultimum Cells.
That's probably one of the biggest parts of this contract.
It's
right?
huge.
That is huge.
It's huge. It's almost like you don't want to get too excited too quick. There's a lot that happens there. I think there's 200 to 250 openings. From what we read and understand, it's going to be offered to Lordstown first.
250 openings.
Just
250 people.
They're looking for 250. Well, there's already 1,000 people working there, I think.
Oh,
yeah, it's been open now for.
So that was my question, because they're allowing the Lordstown people to come back, but is there a second tier of people there already? I mean, because I seen something that they make like 70% of what we make on our pay scale. So that's like a second tier.
Yeah. So basically they're going to begin to make their way up though.
Okay.
So now that they're in
General Motors,
in progression. Yeah. They're in the they're under General Motors contract now.
Okay.
So they'll be in progression, and I'm assuming obviously that they'll get to where we're at.
Right.
So they're there, they're looking for 250 of us. Now here's the thing. There were 4,000. They always get this wrong with Lordstown. They always talk about 1,200 people lost their jobs. 4,500 lost their jobs. They just eliminated the third shift in January, I think it was, of 2017. And then in June of 2018, they eliminated the second shift. And then it was one shift left. And in November is when we got the announcement of 2018. So it was, November 28th, 2018. So once that happened, there were 1,200 of us. So those 1,200, whoever didn't retire, whoever didn't take the MSR, whoever didn't quit and walk away from General Motors and transferred to wherever, Lansing Delta, Lansing Grand River,
Texas.
Bowling Green, Texas, Arlington, Texas, a couple different places in Indiana. Fort Wayne is one of them, Wentzville, Missouri, and the list goes on. Those people from that 1,200, they're eligible. I don't know how many were left. I'm getting different numbers. The number I get the most is there were 300 of us. I think there was more than that though. I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't over 500 of us. They only need 250. So we have a 6-month opening window. And basically in that 6 months, you have the opportunity to, I'm assuming, go on Socrates and put your rec in. The minute they open, I'm assuming it'll open once the contract is ratified. If the contract is ratified, I don't want to be, overly optimistic. Everyone has their reasons, and then you can go in and they'll take the top 250, and
it's based on seniority, right?
I would assume yes. I would assume it's based on seniority.
So will people that work in assembly plants be able to transfer over to battery plants and CCA and all those other
My
facilities?
assumption is yes, when there's openings.
Right.
Well, now Lansing Delta is not finished yet. So I don't know how that works. Is there going to be a job fair and they're going to bring people from the streets first? And
can they do that though?
Can they do that? I don't think so. I would assume they would open it first,
right,
before the plant opens.
Yep.
And then once, if they need 1,000 people and 400 come there from area General Motors facilities, or not area, anywhere, and you need 600 more, then maybe they close the rec and they do a jobs fair. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Ed said GMCH is a no. So you can't transfer over to GMCH.
I don't know.
Oh. If this gets ratified, how does our pay raise work now? Will we get back, like, we're obviously on our old salary right now.
Right.
So these days that we're working now, does it
retroactive?
Does it retro back to when we came back to work on Wednesday at our new wage at $3 more?
It should retroact back to September 14th.
Okay.
That's when it should.
Well, we're going to get up, like we talked about, we're going to get a percentage of pay back to September.
But is that based on our hourly rate?
I think it's when we went out the door. We were still working on September 15th.
Right.
So we went out the door September 29th.
But we also worked we worked past the due date of the contract.
Yes.
So there was a period of time where there was other plants out on strike, but we were still working.
Right.
Will we get back pay for that amount of time?
No, because we're working. What
I'm saying is that the new pay rate.
I think it goes from, I'm assuming when the tentative agreement is struck, right, Tony?
October 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah. October 23rd.
So it'll go back to when we just started working.
When we came back.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So October 23rd, I think, was when the tentative agreement for General Motors, if I'm not mistaken, or was it just, I don't know when the tentative agreement for GM was actually.
It was Monday.
It was Sunday night.
Was it Sunday night?
No, Monday morning.
Either way, it was October 30th.
October 30th?
Yeah, Monday morning.
So we would, I'm assuming once that went into effect, I believe it was like 9:46 a.m. in the morning, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's when we would go retroactive back to that particular date. As far as that.
So for us, it'd be Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we would have that bonus money as well when it comes to being out on Lansing Delta was on picket, on strike. So then we have that extra bonus money from being on strike that was negotiated into the contract as well. My mom is asking, will you be able to go back to Lansing if Lordstown doesn't work out for some reason? The only way I'd be able to go back to Lansing, it would depend on what package I take. I don't know yet. If you're watching and you're one of the Lordstown peeps that are heading back, are we going to be offered the 3-year deal at $37,500 if we want to transfer? Or I think the other one is $5,000 for 1 year, $37,000. So if, let's say I am allowed to come back and I want to take the 3-year package, and so they say for moving, the distance I'm moving, I can take the package $37,500 to move to work for Lordstown. I have to be there for 3 years before I could even think about going anywhere else. At that point, me personally, I'll be retired. If I take the small deal for, I think it's 5,000, maybe a little bit more now, then I have to work there for 1 year before I go back or go anywhere else. Also, Lansing, let's say I want to come back to Lansing Delta, they have to have openings. So there has to be a rec out there for Lansing Delta. And when I go on my Socrates and I look and I put my name in, should there be openings and with my seniority, I land it, they'll contact me via email and let me know when my report date will be for Lansing Delta. So there's a lot of factors that go into all that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we will not be able to transfer to GMCH. It says no production other than skilled employees have the right to flow into the GMCH sites unless from a site with excess. The UAW has agreed that that employees of GMCH can be made direct employees of GM at GM's discretion, and in such case will remain subject to the terms of this MOU. GM reserves the right to determine whether the lease employees to lease GM employees to GMCH and or to maintain GMCH as a distinct entity. No. But they can choose to move people around if they want.
Another cool thing. That being said, another cool thing. I know Stellantis landed this, but I don't know. Did we? The leasing program.
I don't think we did. They're offering $1,500 for a vehicle.
I don't know if anybody out there saw Stellantis's agreement, but their people can do 1-year leases. Yep. They can change them every year, unlimited miles.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Unlimited miles, tire change, oil changes, all free. And there's a select vehicle, so you can't just pick anything.
Everybody in the parking lot is going to drive the same thing.
I was going to say,
everybody's going to be walking around.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I thought if GM does this and I was going to still be up here, I would definitely do it. I'd park my truck in my garage and just
drive that.
Whatever I drive.
Oh,
yeah. So, I mean,
have whatever color you want as long as it's in black.
Yeah. Well, I think I think there's only like 5 or 6 different options too. You can't say General Motors was going to do it. They're not going to put the Cadillac Escalade EV on there.
Right.
I mean,
it's going to be a Volt.
But still, man.
Well, hey, listen, it kind of works out where the company could look at it as a marketing tool also.
Yeah.
Because you're getting your people the opportunity. And I actually think that the spouse of the individual that works there can be the person who does the leasing as well. Wow. So your wife works for General Motors, but
we have 2 of these things parked in our driveway.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. We're getting the option to get $1,500 off, which isn't going to make a dent.
No. Which is like $17 off your monthly payment.
Yep. No, I don't think so.
Not even that much.
No,
I don't think so. I would rather take the $1,500 and.
I was talking to a finance manager recently. She said every $1,000 you put down takes $20 off your payment.
So there you go, $17.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would. Yeah,
$17.
A little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more.
So unlimited miles too. Yes, that's why I was going to take advantage of it. That's why because I drive 285 miles to get home.
They would hate you.
They would hate me. I'd hand that thing in with 58,000 miles on it after 1 year.
Every 2 months, you'd be getting an oil change.
Yeah. CEO would be like, "Where are you going?" Everywhere. Everywhere.
You're driving for Uber.
Your car would go straight to JB Byrider after
that. So, I mean, that's just like, there's so much in the contract. By the time we have our rollout meetings, November 8th, I believe.
Wednesday.
Yep. And then we vote November 13th and 14th.
The following Monday.
Yeah. So how's that work with the signing bonus? Do you have to be an active employee to get that? Do you think?
Like, not on sick leave or something like that?
Right.
I think workers' comp you can be on for sure. I don't know about sick leave. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that'd be a good question to ask.
Because that might be out the $5,000.
I don't know. That's a good question to ask though, for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to ask.
Yeah, that'd be a good question.
Because that might be out the $5,000 if not.
Then you need to ask.
I'm gonna ask. That's what I was asking you guys.
That's an automatic committee call on Monday.
Yeah.
For sure, or maybe even a benefits call. I don't know.
That'd be committee
call. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, there's really no arguing about healthcare. I think we have one of the best plans out there.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
And for it not to change is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and they added some things too, like chiropractor is on there now,
which is never.
Which is awesome because I think you can get massages through your chiropractor.
You're really stuck on this massage thing,
dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten a massage?
I've never gotten a massage.
You're a sports trainer and you've never got a massage.
No. What are you saying? One. Sports trainers need massages?
You do for sure. You're pretty tense.
Yeah. I am. I'll tell you what, today was a bad day. You know what I was thinking today? I was just, I mean, nothing was going right at work. People don't. So there was the physical and mental going on with me, and you've seen this. You've watched this play out, right?
The Sarge with a gun,
where people come over to me and go, "You all right?" I'm just like making sure, and I tell them get away from me or whatever, and they go back down the line. And I was feeling pretty tense. So you're right. I think in that situation there,
you could benefit from it.
I could benefit from it for sure, for sure. Hopefully, my mom doesn't come on and start talking about.
Yeah, we have one of we have a great healthcare package.
We do. We do.
Very good.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think what people also, not just the healthcare package, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the wages in terms of we make more money than some other people do. But I've said this before on this show. A lot of people don't understand about our cost structure, the way our business operates. Right.
Yeah.
From that, we talk about that profit and loss income statement, that P&L income statement, everything that goes into, the sale of goods, and then the cost of goods and expenses, and then you get that profit at the bottom. And our income our balance sheets, our income statements are literally a book of everything that the company invests and what they, what their final product is, and what their net revenue is, and what their profits are at the end of the year. And when you look at that, and you look at the amount of people that work for them, and the amount of money they're making and still making even after they pay us, it is justifiable to go to them and say, listen, enough is enough, and we need more. Right. And that's that. And I think this contract was justifiable.
Well, and I think they highlight, what the CEOs make, but they also don't talk about what all the other executives are making as well.
I've seen it. If I'm not mistaken, and this is a matter of public record, if I'm not mistaken, the next 2 or 3 in line under our CEO make more money than the Toyota CEO.
Yes, they do.
I said the next 3 under our CEO. GM make more money than the Toyota, one of the most profitable companies in the world.
That's insane.
And their CEO makes at least 20 million less.
I thought I read online a couple of weeks ago that the Toyota CEO is at, like, with their bonus, is like 7 million.
Yeah. I think
with the bonus.
Yes. Wow. 7 or maybe 8, but it wasn't more than that.
With the bonus.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So, I mean, there's just no way, there's no other way to look at this except we're not saying we all need to make $12 million. And we understand, like for GM, we understand there's 47,000 of us, soon to be 40,000 of us. It's soon to be 35,000 of us. We get it. We get it. So you're making more and more money with less and less people on a regular basis. I told you this before when we did the show before. When I started, there was 160,000 workers, North American operations for General Motors.
We're down to 48.
Yeah. I mean, we're down to literally
47.
Yeah. 47.
I think it's 47.
And it's going to be less than that as time goes on. And I think the biggest thing nobody argues about on members of the UAW, and I always use that Facebook page because it's all 3 companies together talking on there. Nobody's talking enough about EV and AI technology. That's the real elephant in the room. What are you going to do with our workers? Are you going to put them in programs, educational programs, teaching them about EV and AI, so that the jobs that are going to be extremely advanced in technology are something that they can move into? What are you going to do with these people? And I think in one of the highlights, it talks about the transformation into AI and EV and workers protection, or basically making sure that the worker has a job. I also like, and I don't know if GM did this. I know that Ford and Stellantis did. Is there a protection in terms of plant closure over the next 4.5 years with General Motors, where you can strike if you close a plant?
GM got that too.
Yeah, and you should
strike, the right to strike. Yeah,
being an uneducated line worker, for them, for where this EV car is coming, where it's going, I don't see our infrastructure at all starting. I mean, I don't see it. Is everything going to be ready? And
not in 2030.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
And it's funny how they say, and then what's our cost going to be through our consumers' energy? What's our cost going to be? They sit there and say that premium hours, or how are they, or what prime hours? It's going to be 24 hours is going to be your prime hours. So how far is that going to go up? They say everybody's going to be charging their cars at the same time.
Yep.
Is the grid going to be able to handle it?
No,
not right now. It's not. We're being pushed into something that can be a great thing over time, but that it's too fast, too soon, and you're pushing people against their will. I was just telling him, in Michigan, there's millions and millions and millions of cars on the road. Only, what did I say? 37,000 were EV.
Yeah.
37,000 are EV. I mean, that's like literally a pimple on a gnat's ass. I mean, you think about it, it's nothing.
And plus with the gas station equivalent to, it seems like they would start building these, electrical gas stations now, or get them going.
Right.
I know that,
man, is Fred Flintstone's car up for sale? Because I'll be rubbling my feet on the.
I was going to say your feet are going to be killing you. If you get on Ohio Turnpike,
you'll need massages for sure.
Foot massage, pedicure.
There's an Asian spa right around the corner.
That's a whole different.
What kind of massage are you talking about, Dave?
My mother's watching. So no, if you get on the Ohio Turnpike,
sorry, Mama Sarge.
She don't care. If you get on the Ohio Turnpike from Toledo all the way to Youngstown, literally crossing the entire state.
Yep.
If you'll start to notice what I've noticed doing this now for almost 4.5 years, right? More and more at each of the rest stops, more and more electrical charging stations.
Yeah.
I think the one I counted when I got out of the car, there were 7. And so they're starting to, but
my friend Travis, he just traveled to West Virginia, and he's doing this thing where he's documenting what it's like. He drives a Tesla. So he's documenting what it's like to drive a Tesla on a long road trip. And I watched a video this morning. He was at a charging station yesterday, charging his EV, and it took 30 minutes to fully charge it. It's like, if you're on a road trip and you need to go, it's not necessarily.
Not only that,
aren't they wanting to get it to where it But if I heard that they want to get to a point where it charges as fast as filling up a normal tank of gas. But is that going to be the same like in the olden days when you put your phone on a fast charger? It wouldn't stay as charged as long.
Right.
It's going to take time. And what if all the stations are?
That's kind of how it works. So it fast charges up to 80%, and then from there it's a slow charge to get it to 100%, and it takes a long time for that last 20%.
Well, when Mary Barra came to our plant, she said that their mindset is that every 300 miles or whatever it is, 400 miles, you're going to stop, and for a half hour you're going to get a bite to eat. But you know what? I'm not eating how many ever miles. I'm not going to stop and eat a 30-minute meal every.
Listen, I'm that guy that's trying to beat my time by 1 minute the next time I go. You know what I mean? You're like looking at the clock and you're like, man, I'm going to, this isn't all. And then you hit the traffic jam and you're swearing at everybody like it's their fault that you're not going to break your time. But here's another thing right now, because of the lack of infrastructure, not only do you get to the rest stop and you go to charge, but there's five stations and you're in line. So now you've got the waiting time to
read the bottom text, Dave.
Sorry. Yeah.
So tardiness was a shop rule, not dock 8. Yeah. So
okay. Yeah. We got something else from Miss Liz Webster.
I invited her on the podcast and she said no.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember what she said to me. I'm sure she's going to tell us here in a minute. But she said something about, she was like, David invited me on the podcast, and then she said why. My mom didn't take offense to the massage thing. But no, Liz says, I think Runchy's answering your question right there.
That was back in the old days, D Sarge.
Wait, did I hear you right? I like the
Back in the old days, D Sarge. Mama Sarge.
Yeah. We're going to get her on here. We're going to get her via satellite one day.
Yeah, we can get her on here.
Yeah.
She said no thanks though one time when I said we should get her on here.
Yeah. She likes to be behind the scenes. She's famous behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't know much about the contract. Obviously, we have to go to the rollout, but I don't think it's a bad contract.
I don't think it's a horrible contract. I could see where some people are a little upset about certain things, but
you'll never be happy.
No,
it's definitely a lot better than the last 2 contracts I've been a part of.
Yeah,
it's definitely
it is. Yeah. Trust me.
You'll never be happy.
No.
If you're wanting pure happiness with every contract, you'll be striking forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we got put in this position. I think that Mr. Sean Fain is also thinking the same thing, that he knows he's fighting out of a hole now. And the key is just to gradually climb out and not try to grab. There's, you got to be careful. You have to be careful in this situation, because I've actually seen it a couple times, not with the automotive industry, where finally the company says, you know what, kiss my ass, I'm out of here, and see you after Christmas, and then we'll figure it out. And we could say this. Oh, you want a dog fight? We'll eat ramen noodles and macaroni and cheese and potato chips, and that's great. So now we're in the dog fight, and we start to lose public support, which is the one thing I don't think he wants, because the public starts looking at us and saying, okay, are you guys seriously turning down after that fight? We agreed with you. You won all this back. You didn't win everything. You actually said, okay, even though we haven't signed the contract, we'll show good faith and we'll go back and work without just a tentative agreement, because we have good faith in what's going on. And, there's no ill will against the company, just a disagreement. These people want to see that, they don't want to just see this knockout, drag down fight. And then I don't want what else I don't want? I don't want the government getting involved.
Right.
I think they already did.
Because, but when they get involved, it's never for us.
Right.
I don't care, folks. I'm going to tell you this right now. Where you at? Over here? Yeah. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're independent. I don't care if you're an idiot. I don't care what you follow and what you believe. The government is not for us in that situation. Plain and simple. It's not for us.
Yep.
Like George Carlin said in one of his stand-ups, one of my favorite comedians ever, rest in peace, George.
One of the greats.
Yeah, one of the greats. It's a small club and we're not in it. It's that simple. Yep. It's that simple. So when the government gets involved, that is when I'd be thinking in my head, I ain't never going home. I ain't never retiring. You do not want them involved. And that's where it's going to head to in those situations.
Somebody said they screwed the 4-day temps, which most are in Arlington 276 plant. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about.
What is a 4-day?
What's a 4-day temp?
I wonder, are they talking about the temps that only work Friday if they need them on Friday, Saturday,
is it like
Monday?
Like a flex?
Yeah.
Yes. I wonder if that's what that is.
I don't know anything about Arlington and what they have going on there.
I have a coworker.
We haven't had a 4-day temp in our plant in a while, have we?
No.
It's been years.
Yeah.
Flex temps, is that what they were called?
Yeah,
I hired in as a flex. I was a 2-day flex.
I wonder what
that's what you hired in as?
Yeah. In 2013. I came in March and remained that for till July, and I got hired full time.
32 hours a week.
Not flex, set schedule.
What exactly?
So what was your set schedule?
Or in what way did you get screwed? I guess.
What's your set schedule on that 32 hours a week, Maine? Was that Monday over the weekend?
One of my ex coworkers, still good friends. She's in Arlington, Texas. I'm assuming is that where he's at? Yeah.
And maybe a quick little statement there, Maine. How'd they screw the 4-day temps?
My mom can't watch her mouth either.
That's awesome.
I tell you what, we've an hour and 48 minutes and we're holding 12 strong live.
This is awesome.
This is a breakthrough, right?
It really is.
It's a breakthrough.
We average about like 3 usually on the live, and then people go back and watch it. And we usually hit I think we hit like 60 something.
Yeah.
So they said third shift Sunday through Wednesday night. So how did they screw you?
Yeah,
what did they not do for you?
How'd they screw you, Maine? So how many more of these are you gonna have, Dave?
What, podcasts or
no, like lives? Well, concerning with work, or is this?
I don't know. We might.
You have to do one more.
We might do
rollout.
We might do one more to talk about like what we get, like if the contract was ratified, and maybe more specific about it because we'll know more. But Yeah, I just kind of wanted to do this to talk about like our ideas about it.
That's the thing that it's so hard because we're just a couple of guys talking about it, and we have a platform to do that.
Exactly.
But we're not fully aware of everything that goes into this until we actually have those rollout meetings. Seems like the language didn't say anything about us going to progression whatsoever. They're only speaking on full-time temp employees.
I would assume that you would fall under the temps, right?
I mean, that's my assumption, but that's an immediate.
That's an immediate question.
Yeah, that's an immediate question.
Temporary,
committee call.
Yep.
Temporary workers. A full-time temporary worker. Hold on, let me put this back on the screen.
This way he or maybe she can get a.
Okay. They also just switched a lot of full-time temps back to part-time a couple weeks before we went on strike. They also laid off a bunch of temps.
Yeah, they did, and I wonder are they bringing them back? Is what I'm wondering. I think they did that at Grand River for sure.
They did, but they're also going down to like one shift, right? At Grand River.
Yeah, I thought somebody was talking today about possibly Grand River going to one shift, moving one of the cars over to Fairfax to be built while they retool and get ready for building all EV. I don't know how true that is. That is literally something I heard today, and we know how rumors go.
Okay, all full-time temporary workers to be converted to seniority status. Your national negotiators were able to win language that will allow for the converting of a full-time temporary worker with 3 months of continuous service. Upon ratification, all full-time temporary workers who have 3 months of continuous service will convert to full-time status. Those who do not have 3 months of continuous service will convert upon reaching 9 months of continuous employment, or if there is a full-time need at the facility, whichever happens first. Yeah, so you have to be full-time, a full-time temp in order to be converted, I would assume, right? Unless maybe there's a need for them to hire and I don't know.
Do they convert flex temps to full-time status the same way they commit full-time temps to full-time workers? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Did you have the choice to go from flex to full? Or could you stay flex?
Like a full-time temp?
Yes.
No, never was a choice for me.
Okay.
But so I remember back when after I got hired, I had a friend who he was brought in, I think 2014. He was a temp, full-time temp. They were telling people that you could either choose to be a flex temp or just a temp. And if you choose to be a flex temp, so the way it used to work, the hiring process was if you were a flex temp, that was the next process to being hired. So you'd go from temp, flex temp, hired. Well, they were saying if you choose to become a flex temp, then you'll get hired. But then they ended up hiring the people that were temps first before the flex temps. So they ended up screwing a bunch of people.
And if you now just the flex temps were a couple days a week?
Yeah, usually it's like Friday, Saturday, Monday help. So like when I was a flex temp, I was Friday, occasional Saturdays, and Mondays.
But you would get hired before the other temps.
Correct.
Okay.
When I got hired, but then they changed that in 2014.
See something. So there's no. I mean, that's definitely man.
So they said, I'm definitely going to the local meeting to ask. And then it's a full-time temporary worker language. Most of us out here are not full-time. Most are part-timers.
See, I thought they did away with it at our plant. So I didn't even know it was still a thing.
I didn't realize it was a thing either.
In Maine, if I can just give you a little bit of advice, when you go to that local meeting, make sure you write down every question you have right now. Because if you don't, when you get there, you're going to forget 50% of your questions. So write down every concern and question you have. That way you can have your questions and concerns addressed and answered.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you will forget if you don't. I promise you.
I definitely would. I forgot. I
write them down.
I forgot what Ron just said.
It's because you're old.
I'm not educated.
You know what? I was looking around today. I was looking around on the line today. I was like, damn, I'm one of the oldest people on this line. I remember when I was 22, I was like young buck. You know what I mean? Like everybody. And when I started, here's another thing. And as from what I'm hearing, we are the only GM plant that has part-time temps still.
Most definitely. Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely something you got to look into for sure. I was at.
I'm curious, how many part-time temps are there at Arlington?
Or maybe not how many, but what's the percentage of the workforce there that are part-time temps?
Yeah.
See something just in case. I know that my friend from Arlington is watching. I'm just going to see if she texted me and just give me some information. I was thinking about this too. For the legacy workers out there, this is something with that I myself and you guys have to understand. When we got in as temps, all right, back in the early 90s, 92, 93, 94, we were definitely, as temps, we were the lowest on the totem pole in terms of numbers, in terms of percentages. Seniority, I mean, back then, I think there was about, when I first walked into Lordstown, the van plant was right behind it. There were way over 10,000 workers at that point. They closed the van plant. They shuttered it. They tore it down. And then a lot of people transferred over to the car plant. I still think there was around 9,000 people working at GM Lordstown.
Wow.
And so in that, dynamic, we were by far the least amount. Seniority was really high. And then as time went on, a lot of the seniority, it didn't get better for us for like 10 to 12 years. That's how long it was before, finally we were able to start making our way to maybe some better jobs and things of that nature. And so now here we are where those guys were, but we are the lesser now,
right?
Between the temps and the in transition employees outnumber us. So in a way, and I know this is something that a lot of you may not want to hear, in a way, the contract is geared towards the majority to a certain extent, because they're the ones that are going to be there much longer. We're the ones that are on our way out the door. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be taking care of the people that have done what they've done for this company for going on 30 years. But I am saying that, I hate to say it, but it's human nature. You're going to get a lot more complaints from a lot more people, because there are a lot more of those people. Right. Whereas the legacy people, it's just one thing that we're talking about. It's basically, as on our way out the door, don't kick us in the ass.
Right.
How about, and I hate talking about pensions at work. Like when talking, because I'm talking to, especially if I work over on second shift, it's all young dudes. I'm talking 19 to 24 years old, 25 years old. And I don't like to mention, they'll ask me about pensions, and I won't even talk about it if I don't have to, because I don't want to seem like I'm throwing it in somebody's face.
But you're not bringing it up either.
No,
you're not bringing it up. So you're not throwing it in their face, but I get what you're saying. I hate talking about it as well.
Yeah. And you look around, you're like, wow, I'm like one of the only, there was one day I was talking to 4 guys, and I realized as I was talking to all 4 guys on break, I literally have, if I add all their seniority up, I still have 5 more years on top of that.
Wow.
More than all of them.
Wow.
It's like, I got a couple kids in my team, and they're younger than my oldest. my oldest is 27, and they're younger than my oldest. And it's like,
that's what's so fascinating about the auto industry, though, is because obviously I'm younger than you guys. I'm 30 years old, but like you and I have been friends for a long time. You and I have been friends for a long time. And so you build this relationship with people around you, and it doesn't even matter.
No, age is not it's not a factor at all. I don't think.
Not at all.
And that, because your experiences are together are the same. You get each other, because even if you're upset with each other at times, you get each other because you're going through the same things.
Right.
And know that nobody outside those 4 walls understands. You really do. If I go home and complain to somebody who has no idea about the auto, they may sit there and go, oh, really? And in their head, they're like, shut up. Want me to tell you what I deal with? You know what I mean? Because they don't. So I hate when I get on a rant with somebody and I'm like, oh my God, did I really just complain to them about what I'm dealing with in job rotation? They could care less about job rotation. And so I think that's why age means nothing. It really doesn't, because I think we all just look at it like, and when you think about it, and this is kind of crazy, scary and crazy at the same time, we're with each other a lot of times than we are with our families.
Way more.
Way more.
Yeah,
way more.
because of our hours.
Yeah,
it's just it's what makes it interesting. I always tell people, people are always like, I can't wait to get the hell out of here, and I got 2 years to go, and it's. Now I don't know about this. I don't know. I might really be excited to get out going if I get that avenue to Ultimate Cells. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of different things right now, and I'm hoping to hear better news than I've heard this far.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't sound.
I appreciate you guys. This is a good conversation. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
If you like it so much, subscribe.
We appreciate you, man.
Channel.
Yeah, definitely subscribe.
I appreciate the engagement. It's it adds a whole different vibe to a podcast where you can engage with the audience.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm waiting for the person to come on and tell me I'm an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Not you. You're here. That's not fair. I'm talking about the keyboard warrior, man.
The one that'll call you an idiot, then ignore you at work. They won't even confront you at work.
Well, not even at work. People I'll never meet in my life.
I was going to say it'll be a telephone tough guy because they're probably on their phone doing it. So
yeah. And listen, I probably said a couple things that people don't like. When we were talking about FMLA, some people might not have liked. Well, the problem is what people have to understand.
You don't have to agree with everything.
You don't have to agree with me. And it's not me saying that FMLA is not a necessity. And I like I said, you got to listen to what I'm saying. It is a necessity. And so many people need it in so many ways, whether it's physically, mentally. There's so many different reasons in life. You're helping others out. You're a caretaker for somebody.
Yep.
So there's so many different reasons why you need it. And it just pisses me off when people abuse it because that hurts that person.
Yeah.
Because now they got to jump through hoops and what they're dealing with in their life, that the reason for FMLA.
Yep. And we're looking at that now.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing.
I heard about Sarge. I just need him to get me in a better marathon shape. There you go.
What does he mean? He heard about me. I don't know if I want you. What did you hear?
Maybe Sip or Zorro has said something.
Oh, does he work with Zorro?
Zorro and him are really good friends.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you this, Ed. I can guarantee you can outrun me. I don't think I used to run twice a week, at least a 5K. And then I was getting up to 10. I think it was, we had already started talking about that like a long time ago. Then I was doing 10Ks. And then besides a Tough Mudder, which it's 11 miles, but it's stop and go, stop and go, stop and go.
Yeah.
But besides a 10K, I never really ran more than 7 miles. 6.2 is a 10K.
Mm-hmm.
I ran 7 miles a couple of times in training, and I loved it for a long time. And then I'm like reading what you and Sip and Zorro, I ran an 18-miler in the rain, getting ready for work now. And I'm like, nah, although I did tell you this, folks,
his hair doesn't change.
No, it never moves.
18 miles in the rain and it still looks like that.
It never moves ever. But it never moves.
That's movie star hairdo right there.
It is. But if you
Karen said I told Ed all about you.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, Karen knows Ed?
Joking.
Oh, joking. I was like, how does Karen know Ed? Whatever, Karen. You know what's funny is I could see her laughing hysterically right now. Like I can picture it while she says that.
That's hilarious.
No, this is something really cool. I did a lot of research on this. For anybody who doesn't want to run, all right? For those that don't know this, I'm also a professional trainer. Why do I keep looking up there at that? I'm looking at how many people are watching, like as if they can actually see me as I'm looking up.
There's a little tiny camera right there.
Yeah. So walking, if you can walk a 15-minute mile, it's as good as running 2 miles a day. 2 15-minute mile walks a day, one in the morning and one right after dinner. And you will not only will you burn a tremendous amount of calories, but so I started doing it. I mean, you have to move. You have to fly. You actually look kind of weird doing it. You know what I mean?
It's a brisk walk.
Yeah, like if you're moving down Marsh here in Lansing towards the Meridian Mall, you got some people looking at you a little weird, like, what's going on with this guy? I've seen some videos where there's guys that put bricks in their hand. It reminds me of my old high school track coach.
Yeah,
used to make us run up First Street Hill in Camel, Ohio, the Camel Memorial Red Devils, and we would run track 6 a.m. Mr. Coach Brian Daniloff running up the hill. I mean, this hill was like this, and we're running up this hill with bricks in our hand at 6 a.m. for track practice. So I see this guy in video walking with bricks, and I started getting PTSD. You start thinking about that. But yeah, so anybody who doesn't want to run a brisk walk twice a day, try to get in a 15-minute mile. It is not easy.
I'll have to try that.
My big around the block square where I live, it's exactly 4 miles. And when I walk that, it takes me about an hour and 10 minutes. So that's about 17 17-minute mile.
And that's moving.
And that's I'm moving.
Yeah, that's definitely moving. So there's that. There's my training knowledge for today that has nothing to do with this particular podcast right here, or this episode, I should say.
Well, I think we should wrap it up with that. Thanks everybody for listening. This was fun.
It was.
Thanks for joining me,
guys.
Thanks
for having me, Dave.
Now we have conversation between. This is I have the avenue for Mom Sarge. I have the avenue. While we're talking,
she can be our moderator.
She can handle the comments. Now, Mom, if somebody gets mad at me, okay, let me just tell you this: you can't start cussing them out. You can't start threatening them and telling them what's going to happen. And you have to. I'm 53. I can handle myself. What you say to my son? I can see it now in the comment section. But okay, so she's talking to Maine right there. Maine, hey, yeah, like Dave said, subscribe to the show and let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We plan on doing more of these, so definitely jump in on the conversation again when we go live about the contract.
Yeah,
I'd like to know what they say.
See, she's doing her job now. You have to let me know what happens at that meeting. So that's her job.
That's now. Mom caring right there. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's her job. Okay.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks guys. Thanks for joining.
You, Tony. And
don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and there'll be plenty more.
Adios.
Peace. Bye.